Welcome to the InterViews podcast.
Prima attenzione, Bobo anticipato, palla vagante, mette giù, recova, il tiro,
Welcome, Interisti, to episode 183 of the InterViews podcast, the official podcast of SempreInter.com. We are here for the post-match reaction of Inter Lecce at the San Siro, which finished 1-0 to the hosts. A single solitary goal from Francesco PIO Esposito in the 78th minute, one of our own. And Inter picks up a crucial 3 points, given what happened around the league today. After 20 match days, officially crowned winter champions, whether that means something to you or not, Inter has opened up a 6-point cushion over Napoli at the top. Milan has a game in hand tomorrow against Como. We'll see what they do there, but for the moment in time, Inter has a plus 6-point lead, which could prove to be massive given this run of fixtures that's coming up here. As always, I'm one half your co-hosting duo, Alessandro Raffa, joined here by Gianni Paterno. Gianni, there's a jersey on your wall of a legend, a player I know you appreciate, a player I appreciate, and potentially the man who gave us this cushion could be his heir, Francesco PIO Esposito. You've been talking a lot on Twitter, people coming at you for some justified criticisms that you've levied. You've been talking about strikers who had a much better goal conversion rate than certain other strikers on the team. Can your boy Pio reach those heights? Today was an encouraging sign.
I mean, it was definitely an encouraging sign, and obviously, I know we're both excited about Pio and the potential that he shows with this club. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I don't want to put too much pressure on him, and then have like these unrealistic, unattainable expectations for him. So, do I think that the potential's there? Absolutely. But I don't want to put, again, too much pressure on him. And then, last thing I want is some trolls coming after me, saying that I put too much pressure. It's my fault, or he was never this good, whatever. So as excited as I am, and I thought, look, as soon as he came on, you saw him wanting to be involved, strong with the ball, and with his goal to back to goal. I mean, and yeah, loved everything I saw from Pio today, and of course, was in the right position and was able to score a massive goal for the club.
Speaking of trolls, somebody yesterday decided to tweet out that Leo Ostegard has more goals than PIO Esposito and Kamada combined, trying to act like he's just stating facts. It's very interesting that he chose to highlight those two players, but Pio shows today that maybe he should not be trying to single him out like he's been doing all season. And Inter gets the win today. Listen, today was not pretty. Not by a long shot, or not by the short stretch. I don't know exactly what the right word is there. And there are lots of issues that we have to talk about. But Inter gets a good win, and honestly, in January, these scrappy games against the lower table teams, they can get really, really tricky, as Napoli learned earlier in the day. Against Parma, a team who was missing a lot of guys. There was a lot of talk before the game about Lecce having several players suspended, injured, not able to play. That side of Calcio fan bases was definitely bringing that up, and they themselves couldn't get past the Parma team, who was missing several players of their own. So it's just one of those things where these games come quick, and there's a lot of them in a short space of time, and you can't always look great, but nonetheless there are some things that we definitely need to get into. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first, I want to talk less about game situations and more about the players on the pitch and some of the decisions from the manager today. The first thing I want to start with is, prior to this game, Kivu gave the boys the day off yesterday They did not have any sort of training this morning or anything like that. It was kind of an extended break after Napoli, and Inter comes out and looked really disjointed. Lecce pressed them like crazy. They didn't beat the press very well at all early on. And I thought, maybe it's just taking them a second to get into the game, given the day off. But that continued throughout the entirety of the game. They looked just disjointed, playing in quicksand, no energy. So I want to ask, how much of that would you assign on giving rest to them, extended rest to them prior to this game, versus maybe just being mentally kind of exhausted at this point in the season, along with, being obviously physically exhausted?
Yeah, I think given the extended break was not a good way to go about it. I've seen how it's affected even the club that I've worked with, and seen how when you go too long of a stretch without keeping that game sharpness, it takes a little bit longer for you to get into the groove of a game. You saw even the players who probably looked the best, guys like Zielinski. In the first half, it kind of felt like he was a little lost. Not saying he was playing poorly. I just felt like it took him a little while to recognize like, hey, where I should be, how I can assist this player who is being pressed too hard, stuff like that were a little bit more of a challenge. And then you saw the second half, the change, like almost like a completely different team that came out then. So I think when you do give, even though it may have been good for them physically, I don't think it was good for them in the scope of the game, because I mean you saw just how poor really everyone was. It wasn't just Zielinski, even though I singled him out. I'm again not saying he was bad by any means, people. So please don't come for me. But like everyone was poor. The midfield was poor. I felt like there was really a struggle for the forwards to really do anything at all. Turam was a mess. Boni was a little bit better, but still a mess. This was probably when I look at the numbers. Barella didn't look bad on paper, but when you watch the game, he was not a good player today. And as
No.
much as he's my favorite player on the team, it was probably his worst game of the season. If you really look at it, like it
For a
just
lot
felt
of
like,
them. For a lot of them.
yes, definitely for a lot of them. I mean, yeah, it's tough because I've seen. Look, I mean, I've worked with Antonio Nocerino, and I saw his thought process and the things that he wanted to do, and how he wanted players to get rest, and how he didn't know how to weigh on them if it should, force them to train the day after a tough game, or if he should give them the day off, or if he should give them an extra day off. Like it is a bit of a psychological battle that you have to go through as a manager. So you really have to try to weigh pros and cons of everything. Kivu just, he thought he was doing the right thing. So I can't fault him for that. I can't get upset with that. But it just clearly, based on what we saw, was not the right call.
Yeah. This is a tough conversation for me. You have the experience of seeing it, with your former club. I played the game, but like it's not like I had a professional schedule. Like
Yeah.
like you're not really in high school, college. You're not really worried about that kind of stuff. So I don't really know how to value it. But what I think I can speak to is that they clearly looked not like ready for
Hmm.
the pace of the game against a side like Lecce, which they're not, of course, on paper, like you got to blow these guys out, but they're going to try their asses off. You're speaking about a side who, like, we're fighting for a title. They're fighting for their ability to stay in Serie A, which can be a death knell for some clubs. Some clubs go down to B and they don't find their way back into Serie A for a long time. Sampdoria has been languishing in Serie B, and that is a historic club that was in Serie A. That's been in Serie A for most of the years that you and I have been watching the league, and they can't get their shit together. They're not even close to doing it this year. So like, they have a lot of veterans on the team and guys who just like really, really fight hard. So I think giving the day off does play into the player's readiness to get into the match. And then the double effect off of that is that once a game starts like that, it's hard to like kind of get get into the rhythm that is necessary. And oftentimes you need subs in order to do that. Like, you need fresh legs, you need to switch things out, which we saw Kivu make subs way earlier than he typically does. So I think he had recognized that. In hindsight, it's easy to say it was the wrong call to give them the extended rest. I don't necessarily disagree with the thinking behind it, also because you got Udinese on Saturday, Arsenal on Tuesday, Pisa at the weekends. Like, these games, again, like I said, there's a lot, and it's happening. I think there's like 9 or 8 games in a 20-day span. It's crazy. So I understand him saying, hey, maybe I'll pick the spot of post Napoli heading into a home game against Lecce, and that's going to be my spot to get these guys a day of rest. Listen, it didn't work out. It did not work out. There's the other aspect of this that I mentioned earlier, which is they look mentally run down. I don't think that there's any question that game against Napoli had an effect on their ability to get locked in for this game. I just don't. I think mentally they are in a spot where it's like they're just exhausted. They probably need an extended break that they're nowhere near getting to. What can Kivu do? You're the manager. This is ultimately going to fall on you. Obviously, a lot of it falls on the players, but ultimately, everyone is going to look at the manager to get the players going again. What can he do at this point in the season to get them back locked in, to get a team that is exhausted back and ready to go?
It's a tough one to really like pinpoint what can he do. Like when you look at it from a 30,000-foot view, right? It seems like easy on paper, where it's like, okay, just more rotation, or maybe like, switching up the goalkeeper. That might be a big thing. It might lift morale a little bit, where you have secure hands behind you, or someone who's a little bit quicker off his line. Maybe that relieves a little bit of stress, because you could see the way that the defensive line was playing even today. A little bit of a defensive stress on them, I think, in a mental aspect. You see Bastoni wanting to, coming out a little bit more. And I feel like he was a little bit more aggressive with his tackles, really trying to make sure that people weren't able to beat him. And if they did, fouling them, just so that he didn't have to worry about, what was coming in behind him. Acerbi, known for always being able to like want to pull kits and kind of like get people off their game. He was doing that. And even Akanji, not really doing anything on the physical aspect, but I think he was playing a little bit more responsible defensively. Whereas even when he plays as a center back and a B-Sex on the right, he will still make more runs forward. I think that he wanted to sit back just in case something happened, because I think he also knew that with Acerbi's lack of speed, he would have to cover on a lot of occasions potentially.
And it happened too. There was one action where he outraced Acerbi from way further out.
Way
like he had
further, yeah. And it's just, I feel like when you have to worry about those things, it makes it a little bit harder in order to be successful in the defensive aspect, I'm saying. So when you're looking at it as Kivu, what does he have to do? How does he kind of like instill a sense of confidence in these guys? I really don't know. Like, I've seen it 2 different ways. I've seen when managers, tear apart players and they rip them apart in training. That doesn't really go well a lot of times. I've seen where you try to coddle them and you try to like just be encouraging and try to let them know like, hey, like you did this wrong, but this is what you don't worry, you'll make up for it the next time, or you'll be better the next game, or let's learn on it from training. So it's tough, because no matter what he does, if it doesn't work, he's gonna get the blame. And then, the fan base is going to come after him and want to pinpoint him, which is crazy. When, like, I know I was mad at him last episode and, really disappointed with some of the things that he did. I thought today he was a little bit more proactive with his substitutions, which I did like. And I don't like, listen, he's 6 points ahead right now. Like, he's in first place. I didn't think so. I think you did believe that we could still win. I don't remember now, but I know I didn't. I had him finishing second. And I said, hey, I'd be okay with top 4. Now that I've seen what he can do, and yes, he's not doing good against the big teams, but like, if you look at the numbers, Inzaghi wasn't doing good last season either against the same teams.
It's a team thing. It's a team issue.
Yes, it is a team issue. I don't think it matters who the manager is on the sideline. You could have brought Mourinho back. You could have brought, Spalletti, whoever you wanted to bring at the time. You could have done all that stuff. and I still think the results would be the same. And in fact, I actually think, as much as I love Mourinho, if you brought him in with this current crop of players, a lot of things would be going wrong, and I think he would still be playing a very antiquated style of football, and we'd be wondering, like, what are we doing? We have the talent. Why are we playing this way? So, like, I think we need to be a little bit more accepting of Kivu and a little bit more understanding of the position that he's in, and also recognize that, like, hey, he's got to work with a lot of different personalities. He's got to rotate as many players as he can to keep them fresh, to keep them available when he has to call on them. Like, Diouf hadn't played in a little while, came on, had to start from the beginning to kind of give Luis Enrique a little rest. I'd say it took him a little bit longer to grow into the game as well. I feel like a lot of his first touches were going hard off his foot, and he had to chase them down. Fortunately, he had the pace and the time to be able to recover them. But I think had it been, a game like, let's say we're playing Atalanta and he's making these same mistakes, Atalanta would have made him burn, like, punished him for those things. So it's tough because you want these guys to be successful. You want them to be able to have an impact for you throughout the season. And now, of course, with the injuries and stuff, like having to rotate the midfield a little bit more, it's going to be interesting to see how he juggles everything.
You brought up something that I think segues perfectly into the way that I view the situation. Two things. And the first is, you mentioned like all the different things that Kivu has to deal with. Everybody is treating Kivu, or treating this situation, as if he's this incredibly experienced manager, but he isn't. So props have to be we talk about the +6. Props have to be given to him for managing it as well as he has up until this point, because it's not only the kind of locker room, the situation in the team as far as where we're short, what we have to do to make everything work, but it's also a team that we talk about their inability to win the big games for the last, outside of Bayern and Barcelona, inability to win the big games for quite a while now, and also a team that suffered devastating losses. This team needed to be rebuilt mentally. And the job that he's done so far, I think, has been immense, while also we can admit that it's not been perfect. And the second thing that I think you bring up that's so interesting when you bring up the Mourinho thing, I was thinking, I immediately went to, what would Mourinho or Conte or Spalletti or Allegri be doing in this situation where you do have a team that is a little bit mentally rocked? They would try to motivate the team through doing shit in the media, like talking, like making it an us against the world kind of thing, maybe complaining about transfers, just kind of using the media to try to twist something else, and maybe using the media to try to light a fire under the player's ass. And Kivu's not like that. And I think that's a good thing, because that approach can really, really, really backfire. I mean, really, really backfire. You know who is not on the bench for Napoli today? Conte. Because he's over the top with his antics. And people look at Kivu like this guru, like it's too much, whatever. I don't think going the other way, like a Conte or like a Mourinho, would be helpful for this team at all. I don't think it would be helpful for this team at all. So I don't know exactly what to do to get this team locked in. I do think that the idea of switching a major position like goalkeeper is interesting, at the very least, because it's not only like the stress in the defense, but it's also kind of showing like, hey, I'm not lying down here. If you guys start not performing at a certain level, I'm switching shit up. I actually really like the sound of that. It sends a message to the team. Like,
Agreed.
I'm not trying to give this shit away. I have a +6. I'm not trying to give it away in my first season. And I have Conte and Allegri and Spalletti coming at me. Like, you're not getting the job done. We're switching things up. The more I talk about it, the more I fucking love that. And the more I need him to do it. That's a perfect way to send a message. So, yeah, interesting times for Kivu and for the team moving forward. Let's talk about this game. I want to start with one of the players that you brought up early on, Zielinski. today playing in the regista position because Hakan is out for at least 20 days. He's not going to be back for the rest of the Champions League. He might be back for the Juventus fixture. That's what they're targeting. So Zielinski starts at regista. There's a few, giveaways that it's not looking perfect early on. There's a beautiful 1-2 with Bonni for a shot in the first half, and there's some giveaways in the second half. But like you said, I don't think he was terrible, but it wasn't a perfect game. It definitely was one of the weaker games on this stretch that he's had. Based off of this performance or sections of it, moving forward without Hakan, do you continue to go with Zielinski at regista? Do you switch it up and drop Barella deep and allow Zielinski to go back into mezzala? Or do you push Kivu to change things up entirely and say, I don't have a regista of Hakan's level or even someone that's close. I have to change formation entirely?
I definitely don't think he'll change formation regardless. I think he would rather rotate players as opposed to changing the formation. I don't think this was a bad game by Zielinski, really. I can only think of maybe one or two balls that he misplayed. I think the rest of the time he was probably he was definitely the best midfielder out there today, which isn't saying much with how poor the other two were. But I don't really even consider this a weak game. Yeah, if you want to compare it to the rest that he's done, like you said, then yeah, maybe. But I still struggle to really say that this was a weak game for him. But I think given the way the season has been going for Barella, it might be best to throw him in the regista role and move Zielinski further up.
100% agree.
I think a lot of people... I think he gets a lot of unfair hate. I really do. I don't think...
You're talking about
this game. Barella, yeah, this game was terrible, like absolutely horrendous. Like, I'm sure if you asked him, he would want to delete this from history, from memory, and move on. But I still think he's one of the best midfielders, not just in Inter, but I think in Serie A, in Europe. What he is able to bring to a game, which we've seen in spurts, not really in long stretches of the season. I think it's just so influential and crucial. He had a great attempt at a header that, Falcone just made a fantastic save. And honestly, if you would have asked me if I thought he would actually be able to get to that, I would have said not a chance.
Yeah.
And, it just was unfortunate. If he scores that goal, do people, still hate on him? Probably, because it was a terrible game. But I think that kind of is like, okay, cool. Like, that monkey gets off his back. He might be able to grow from that and use that as a jumping off point for the rest of the season. But I would rather see him step into the regista role, Zielinski to the left, and I think that'd be perfect because after seeing Mkhitaryan play, perfect chance for Sucic to be on the right side.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What? All right, I'm gonna try to be calm. I'm gonna try not to loose my cool and
before you talk about Mickey. Can I lay out? All right, so a couple things. One, agree about Barella going to regista. I think that's the move. 110%. Zielinski just looks more comfortable. He's more effective in the final third, and Barella can
100%.
play that position. And you know what? He might get into the game a little bit better if he has to make a few tackles and play a little rough, hit a nice little switch and get,
And I think one of his best performances of the season was when he actually played as a regista. Most complete. He even provided an assist. He was able to chip in long balls, like you said, tackling, tracking back, being aggressive, and just being able to grow into the. And I think when you're the one who's dictating the change of the switch of play and stuff like that,
the tempo,
he's able to do that very well. And this might be the type of thing where almost kind of like how Brozovic was further up the pitch and then moved into the regista. Obviously he wasn't working at all up there.
Yeah,
kind of thing where maybe if we move Barella, maybe the regista is where Barella has to play going forward for him to be his most influential.
I agree with you. And there's also a comment I saw today on Twitter saying that Barella is in Saudi Arabia mode. We can't be spending $6 million a year on a player like this. And I'm like, you know what? I do think that it's been difficult for him at times this season, but I would absolutely play him at regista for the rest of his career and let him be that's worth $6 million. I think he's a $6 million a year player at regista. I'd like to see that. My read on Barella today was the body language was off from the very first minute to, the body language when he got subbed off the field. And to me, that says, and you and I both played, sometimes you don't have it for the day. There's kind of nothing that you can do to get into it. Like sometimes it's like, and as a professional, that's really hard, but it's reality as a human being. Like sometimes it's not happening for you. It's not happening for you. And his body language was saying that. So, not the best game from Barella, but certainly not, especially with the games coming forward and the injuries that we had, certainly not a player that we need to be dropping. We just need to maybe shake things up between him and Zielinski.
It might be the kind of thing where, like, I would assume that you were like me, whereas you had, multiple pairs of boots, and when it wasn't working that day, it wasn't you. Like, I would blame the boots, right? And I'd be like, all right, I got to go back to like Old Faithful over here and throw on my old Total 90s, and all right, I'm back. Like, it might be something literally as stupid as that sounds, but it might be something as simple as that, where it's like, hey, I
would switch
change
between
something.
the Vapors and the Predators. That was it.
That's it. All right, there you go. See, that's a good rotation.
Yeah. But it just wasn't happening for him. And the third midfielder today, I want to read just a list of things that I wrote down, actions on the field that are egregious. There was the miscontrolling of a clear breakaway in the first half where he had so much time and space and he just couldn't get it under his control. Terribly embarrassing. There was a shot wide after a corner that was like better, but still, you're 36, 37 years old, whatever it is, you got to get that on target. The shot to the moon in the first half, like horrible form, just not great. The header backwards that started Lecce's counter in the first half, headed it to nobody, completely just gave them
absolutely nobody
a numbers advantage in the counter. And then what I think like sums up, and I don't understand why this was happening, him on the set pieces.
Yep.
The free kick that he boots into the wall and then shanks at the rebound.
Wasn't even a shank. It was an absolute scuff. Like bro, you're a professional footballer.
This is what this is the point that I'm trying to make.
I would do.
This is the point I'm trying to make.
I could do that.
All of those actions are like not of Inter's level. Not of Inter's level. Take it away.
Dude, he was 0 for 6 on shots on target, 0 for 2 on successful dribbles, 0 for 6 on accurate crosses, took 3 corners. All 3 of them did not find an Inter player. Like, bro, you were playing against us. Like, honestly, like, this is the meme where Karim Benzema is talking to Camavinga, and he's saying, yo, he's not with it. He's playing against us. Like, this is literally, like, I mean, that's what I picture somebody saying about Mkhitaryan.
Yeah.
I don't understand what it is that, like, he continues to get big minutes. I get it. Given the injury, he had to start. Fine. Like, I don't know what Petar Sucic is doing or not doing in training. Again, we're not there, so maybe he's just not putting in, the effort or the intensity that Kiev was calling for. Very well could be. He didn't really have
game against Lecce, like that they hate you hard. It could.
I mean, yeah, given that Koulibaly is a bit of a physical midfielder and he's easily their best player, and maybe he didn't want to have him going up against him, especially since we know that his upper body strength isn't really a strength in Sucic, that is, and he didn't want to have him to deal with the physicality out there, perhaps. But I hope, like I said, going forward, it'll be Barella Regista, Zielinski to the left, and Sucic to the right. And then maybe that could be like, the best midfield 3 while Hakan is out. But I think Mkhitaryan is such a liability, like you said, like the heading the ball backwards to nobody and starting the counter like that. What did you see? What didn't you see? Like, I don't understand what your thought process was in that. Is it just because you thought you were going to win the ball? You got to put it somewhere. Even still, you could have tried to get under it and flick it back if that's really what you wanted to, at least that would have been less damaging. He had a few passes. There was one instance in the second half in particular where he had Boni streaking in and he just hits the man in front of him with a pass. It's like, bro, I don't get it. I really don't. And he's someone that I truly like. I never want to see as a starter. we've said it before, his best contributions come when he has like 15, 20 minutes to have an
Yep.
impact as a sub. He want to just run around and wreak havoc, like just chasing people down. Fine. I'm okay with that. Like, as much as I dislike the player, I can see the value in that. Like maybe, hey, you start Sucic, he's done nothing, like whatever. It's been a slow game for him, and then you bring on Mkhitaryan just to run rampant. Fine. Fine with that. But
We've been saying it, and it couldn't be more obvious that that is Mickey's use in this team. It's the
that's
last
it.
15 minutes or 20 minutes if you need something. And listen, against Napoli, he came on and played that role really well.
Yeah.
He can do that. He can do that. He can't be featured for 90 minutes. It can't be from the start. It just doesn't work. The team looks worse when that is the case.
Yeah. Yeah, without a question, the team is definitely worse when he's the one out there doing that, and I don't get how anybody could still defend him, but there is a small sect in our fan base who are big Mkhitaryan guys, and yeah, does not make sense to me.
He was super poor today. And that there was, a lot of that going around, but at the same time it was super poor. All right, let's talk about this defense. They didn't have a ton to do.
No,
Lecce broke away plenty of times, but the amount of times that I really remember anything happening, I mean, there was a Sotil and a Stulic like breakaway that they shot the ball wide. Did someone make a save today?
he made a
Oh
save in
yeah,
the second half on
yep.
Siebert,
That was actually yeah, it was a decent save.
which that was like a reaction save.
Yep.
Thank God he made it, because also I felt like it was very lackadaisical where he just put his hand up. Like,
It,
I mean,
it
it was a
was
good, but I was like, if that was hit any harder, would that have gone in? I don't know, but
yeah, it was an
hey,
autopilot
whatever.
kind of thing. The XG on target of it was 0.57 on a 0.18 chance. So it was actually it was a good opportunity for them, and it was
Yeah,
a good save. But defensively, the team was pretty good. You spoke about the effort that Bastoni, not defensively, the team was pretty good. The back line was pretty good. The effort from Bastoni was great, getting
yeah,
forward. He was involved. The effort from Akanji was good. He played safe. I thought he looked much better today than he did against Napoli. And then
agreed.
Acerbi played well. I mean, he dealt better with the high balls than Akanji did against Napoli today. He did what he does, except it looked a little slower than what I'm used to seeing. Like he definitely
Yeah.
has slowed down. So that leads me to my question here. Given what we saw, given what we have consistently seen with Bisek late in games defending, Akanji, Acerbi, Bastoni, is that your backline when you need safety at this point? Do you want to
When
see
you need,
more of that backline?
I don't know if I want to see more of that backline, but the thing is, like, you're in such a bad situation with Acerbi's lack of pace
Mm-hmm.
and Bisek's boneheaded plays.
Yeah.
Like, he may play the position well. Like, there's no doubt that in terms of being a cerebral defender, Acerbi probably the best and smartest defender we have, without a question.
Agree.
But if we're going to be playing this high line and a ball goes over the top, like we talked about, where Akanji had to like really kick it into high gear to come back and recover for Acerbi, it could be like, it'll be bad. That would be bad against a Milan, because if you have Leao and Pulisic, that'll
Yeah.
be bad against Napoli with their pace, and obviously with the way that Højlund's able to hold balls up, but he is also able to make runs if he has to. Um, and really, like any other team that has, pacey players, it could be a big problem. The counterpoint, though, is with Bisek out there, like, you expect a lot better from a 6'5" defender.
Yep.
You expect him to be able to win every header that is placed in the box. Like, you look at the effort on the second goal that Napoli scored, and that like half jump that like led to the ball bouncing back there, and then Noah Lang is able to get to it, which when I rewatched the game, I put an equal amount of blame on both Bisek and Barella. I think you were right. Barella should have played that differently. Um, but I think if Bisek wins that header, it's not even a problem to begin with. So it's like, I don't know. Like, do I want to put up with bad like brain fart moments, or do I want to worry about a guy being smoked? I can't really get mad at Kivu no matter what he decides. We just have to hope that when he makes these decisions, the player that we're concerned with does the right thing and is able to overcome their limitations, whether it's their brain or their feet.
That was a perfect read of the situation, Johnny. Because it's not a wonder why Acerbi and Devray's playing time is plummeted. It's not because defensively they can't still defend. It's because they can't play in this high line. They can't do it. Bastoni's not quick to begin with. God forbid it goes on the other side instead of what we saw with Akanji's chase down. You're fucked. You're completely fucked.
And at least, and you know, Akanji can outmuscle. Like if he catches up, he can outmuscle him. Bastoni typically cannot outmuscle a player. He would have to go to ground to try to win it. And even still, like if he goes and the other player is able to maintain balance, he could just be off by himself anyway. So it's, yeah.
You know, and people have also been posting videos of Samuel and Lucio in response to what we saw from Bisek at the end against Napoli. And they're right. As far as like Samuel and Lucio would give up their body, they would die to make sure you didn't score a goal. And that was clear. Like it came through. Like that is defending. It's something that we've honestly lost in the game. Those two were
sorry,
they were club bouncers. That's what they were. You weren't getting in. And if you try, I'm gonna destroy you. That's what they were. But the reality is neither of those guys would work in a high-line Kivu system either.
No. Yeah, they wouldn't. They realistically, I mean, and as much as we say like, oh man, what we would do to have Samuel in this center back role, it wouldn't. Nope. He has more pace than Acerbi, sure, but it wouldn't be much better out there. Like you would need it. He would have done better in a Antonio Conte system. Like if he came in, yeah, he would have been probably the ideal center back, at least for me, from a defensive standpoint. You know, on the ball, not really. No, although he did score a sick goal against Siena for us, but anyway, it's the art of defending has definitely been gone from the game. You don't have center backs or not center backs in general who will risk it all to make the play, like the Cannavaros who will jump clear over someone to win a header, and you know, like the Nestas, the Maldinis, the know stuff like that. Like that's gone. And you know, I as much as I do miss Lucio and Samuel, I don't think you'll ever have those guys. Like Bisek will never be that player who will give it all to win a ball, who will lay out, who will come in full speed and come in with a last second challenge. I mean, just look at what Samuel did against Barcelona in the Champions League semifinal, coming in with a last second tackle. I forgot on who. I don't think it was Messi, but it was somebody there where if that guy got that shot off, it probably was going to end up in the back of the net. You don't see that anymore. And I think, you know, Kivu is in a bit of a predicament because he was also that kind of defender. He would risk it all.
I was thinking the same thing. Like if the likes of Kivu, Kolarov, Angelo Palombo can't instill what they had into a player, it's like I will sell high on Bisek the first chance I get
this summer. There's a few people that I would like to sell high on. To be quite honest, it's we don't have to get into that, but yeah, like if somebody comes in with a legitimate like $35 million offer, $30 million offer for Jan Bisek, I think you got to cash in and go shopping for another center back. You know, like we wanted in the summer, we wanted Giovanni Leoni. You know, I don't know what the situation is with Diego Coppola at Brighton. You know, if there's an opportunity to review that, but like you need guys who can play a defensive game, who can make, you know, fantastic challenges, who can risk their bodies to be able to perform for the team. And unfortunately, Jan Bisek isn't that guy, which is a shame because with the build that he has, his technical ability, I mean, you would think that the guy would be an absolute monster, and he's soft. He's a soft big man. He'll go up for a header on an offensive corner, like he'll try to win that and put that in himself. and he'll try to, he has no problem trying to dribble his man and take shots. But if I need him to make a big challenge, he's not that kind of guy, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just agree with you. And even the guys that like I've been scouting, like Muramovic and Imlacic and whatever, and like there's too much on tape of them kind of giving up on plays a little bit, and it makes me really nervous. But it makes me think that that is kind of like what young defenders look like these days. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's a longer conversation.
Yeah, and I think with Milacic too, it's also an age thing. I think when you're kind of being coddled a little bit by the club that you're at, and I think that if you go to a bigger club with the higher expectations, I think they put a little bit more strain and stress on what it is that is expected from you as a defender. So hopefully that would happen, once we get that deal done, and he'll be like when he eventually does come. I'm saying, but yeah.
All right, we'll talk about the wing backs quickly because we got a lot else to get to. Carlos, really good cross for Barella in the second on that header, like you said. Fought really well. I don't think this is his most effective game, but honestly, I also think it wasn't his most effective game because Mkhitaryan wouldn't play him the ball when he would make the run like over and over and over again in that second half. Like could not find him, which was really annoying. But I think it was a decent game for him and an important situation where you're able to get DiMarco a full 90 of rest. Although I was getting concerned, like I would have thrown DiMarco in like
at the 80th minute. I would have thrown like when they put Lautaro on, I would have brought DiMarco on. So
I was ready to see him. Juf as a right wing back. He needed to do better with those two chances that he had, the one that went wide and the one that was like kind of a tame shot down the middle. But like that first half, a lot of opportunities where he's just running at his man a little bit, and you sense the danger. I don't think we're seeing the product of it quite yet. There's still some more work for him to do, and again, he's playing out of position. But I don't know. Like I don't feel discouraged by anything I saw from Juf outside of like do better with your chances, young man. Like give it a rip a little bit. But I think there's something there.
Yeah, there's definitely something there. I just wish that he would do a little bit more, something a little bit more creative with his dribbling when he tries to beat his man. I think he could be a little bit predictable on where he wants to go based on what foot he has the ball on. And I think that makes it easier for the guys who are defending him to read where to step, where to like kind of cut across his body to kind of like shield the ball from him being able to run onto it. And I think if he's able to like figure out that, hey, I could be a little bit more tricky, which you see he kind of has in his coffer, that he's able to do these things. I think that's the only thing. And yeah, like you said, like the shots, like you had one where he got on his left foot and he put it right at Falcone.
Yep.
Right. I think if you pick a corner, you probably squeeze that in there. But
yep. Yeah. I don't think it was a bad game, but it, and I know you don't either, but he wish he kind of had a little bit more, but also he's coming off the injury. So maybe he's not just quite like,
yeah, it could be.
Ready
but I
to
thought,
go.
I mean, and look, I've never really paid attention to Antonio Gallo, but I thought he did a pretty good job, like defending him. And,
he's been like that. Like Gallo's been like super underrated, for a while. Not that I would ever like consider him.
Oh, no. Yeah, I wasn't saying for Inter, but like I was like, man, this guy, like, I mean, I didn't think it was like a fluke game, but I thought he was playing him very well. And I kind of remember him from, I think it was last season, being the same type of player too. So yeah, I was like, is this just like he shows up for Inter, or is he actually like this solid of a defender here?
Yeah.
But
Aaron Martin at Genoa, those two are like just solid, solid wing backs. All right, we got to get to these forwards. Thuram was gassed today. I don't think the partnership with Bonni worked. He had a poor header off a really, poor header off a really great ball from Bastoni in the first half. He gets the yellow for diving, which
Rightfully
I think
so.
deserved. Him and Boni, both of them. He played a hospital ball to Bastoni that led him to almost get like really hurt. This was in the same way that we talk about Barella just didn't have it today. Thuram didn't have it. It was, and it's been poor. It's been really poor for quite a while from him.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a massive regression this season, which I feel like has been a common thread or a common theme that I've been saying this season between Bastoni and Thuram. You could even say Barella. Um, you hope for more. You hope for better from these guys because you saw what they're capable of and you know the talent that these guys possess. But Thuram just doesn't look like a guy that I don't know if it's like he doesn't want to be here anymore or what. Like I'm not going to start those kind of rumors, but it just feels
happens
like he's
every year.
uninterested.
He kicks off the season hot, and then it just fades. Really early in the season, we're talking about who's gonna be the Capocannoniere, who's gonna score more. Is it Thuram or Lautaro? And he does this every year.
Every year, and it's getting kind of just tiresome, really, to see him kind of like putting these half-hearted performances in. I don't know, like I expected better for sure with the opportunity that was crossed to him. I expected better with some of the balls that when he was dribbling in on the edge of the box. I thought that he'd be able to do something a little bit more creative, beat his man, and then and fire something maybe far post. And it just again was not there. I agree with you. I think that like you need to put if it's Thuram, it's got to be with PIO or Lautaro, and if it's Boni, it needs to be with PIO or Lautaro. Like these two cannot play together at all. Not that they're too similar, because I think Boni is a much stronger, more physical forward, and is able to hold off his man, and might even be a little bit of a better dribbler. But I feel like he's less likely to make the runs, and I feel like Boni doesn't put himself in positions to be able to get on the end of crosses. Like he seems to drift further out, and it doesn't make sense to me. Like, bro, use your strength, use your height, use your size. Like, let's try to win these balls, and he doesn't.
Yeah. Speaking of Bundy, started the game looking really dangerous. I tweeted both Bundy and Juve looked really dangerous early on. He had a good 1-2 with Juve off of a back heel. That was sweet. Again, like Inter loves their back heels, but no one gets it off. Bundy was able to get it off. He did this, little shifting, dribbling in the box to get off a dangerous shot early in the first half. He wins the penalty, but it's very, very soft and very, not good from him. And then he faded out of the game. I don't have real concerns with him, but I was disappointed because I was hoping to see the kind of performance that would maybe put Thuram and Lauti on notice, and we didn't get that from him today. We got it from another forward, but not from Bundy.
Yeah, a bit of a shame that we didn't get that from Boni. It seems like he needs the game to be more open for him to be more effective. And when it has to be this more methodical, tactical, typical old Serie A type of match, it's harder for him to grow and have that impact. When he's able to make runs, when he's able to find spaces and stuff and pockets and play 1-2s with midfielders, that's when it seems to be his best. So, maybe this was just an error on. I mean, I understand the rotation by Kivu, but maybe this was just an error on picking the right striker, given the opponent and probably the style of game that they were going to want to play.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's not delay it any longer. Francesco Pio Esposito comes in the 55th minute. So he actually gets the 55th minute. He gets a ton of time on the pitch today. Created a really good chance for Fratesi that Fratesi should have done a lot better with. Won a ton of fouls, deep in Lecce's half for us, which is a huge thing. And that is a big attribute for a striker to have. He does that little quick turn out of trouble that he gets fouled on, but that move is looking sharper and sharper every time. The desire is just off the charts. And that's what got him the goal today. He just wanted it more. When the ball is bouncing in the box and you have 4 Lecce defenders around you and you have a goalkeeper closing in on you, you just do what you need to do to get there and to poke it into the back of the net, and he does that. His first Serie A San Siro goal for Francesco Pio Esposito, one of the most promising prospects in Italian football, one of the best ones that we've had in quite a while.
Brilliant stuff from the 20-year-old. I was excited when Pio came on. I thought that this was a game that was kind of like tailored for him, where I felt like he would have been able to hold up play, allow his teammates to join the attack. He did a good job of that in a couple of instances. Was drawing fouls, like you said. I think he drew like 3 fouls really, and scored really a fantastic hustle goal. Like, he set it up for Lautaro when it was shot, and able to come in and get the rebound and put it in, cleanly. Um, he's a guy that I think is going to be, a player that we hang on to. I'm glad we didn't sell him, even if that 50 million, euro offer was true. Clearly showing his worth. Like, he's a guy that you need to hang on to, continue to develop, because this is a guy, like, he will be, I think at some point win the Capocannoniere in Serie A. I think I could feel comfortable in saying that. At least will he go to the levels of Vieri or Luca Toni? That will remain to be seen, if he can put in the consistency and stuff, and be given the opportunities to play. But he really deserved a second goal. I thought that second strike that he took from outside the box was even nicer. Just went a whisker wide. I think he would have beat Falcone easily with that strike. But man, like, this guy is the truth. I think I know, given the kits that are coming out next year, I think I know who I want to put on my home kit next season.
Yeah, and that do you have a card of his?
He doesn't have any yet, so
He doesn't have.
I'm waiting for those to. They might. I guess they're going to come out for next season, because this season's playing out. So
yeah, and
but yeah, invest. If you're a card collector, start saving up, because you're going to want to invest in PO stuff. I'm still waiting for Sucic as well, because he doesn't have any rookie cards. So
yeah, we don't have to get into this too much, but as far as like potentially sitting Thuram or Lautaro, I think at this point I would go with Pio over Boni. I don't know.
I would go with PO over.
I don't want to do
now.
recency. I don't want to do a recency thing, but
But it is. We're talking about right now. I think right now that's what you have to do.
yeah.
But I also wouldn't be opposed to playing PO with Boni. I think that they would work well together too. So
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, we talked about all these games coming up. We'll see if Kivu gets involved. The substitutions: Fratesi for Barella, Pio for Boni, Luis Enrique for Juve. I was very nervous when these subs were made. I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't understand what he was doing. Barella, I guess the body like he could sense that it wasn't gonna happen for him today. Okay, but the midfielder I would have taken off was Mkhitaryan, unless the idea is, you're going more offensive with Fratesi, and you want to have somebody who knows going to do a lot more tracking back. Sure. Pio for Boni makes sense, and then Luis Enrique for Juve. I thought Juve needed a little bit more time. Luis Enrique came in, he did his thing. Pio came in, he did his thing, but Fratesi. What did you make of Fratesi's game?
who?
Fratesi.
Oh, he played today. Oh, he played today. I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice he's on the pitch.
Oh my goodness! I mean, he was involved. He was involved.
I guess
not in the build-up. He had a chance.
I guess he was involved. About as involved as I am with his sister. Let's put it that way. That's how involved he was. So
yeah.
No, I'm not a fan. I'm ready. Like, get him out the door, please. Pack his bag. I'll help him move. I'll pay for his moving expenses. Let's get him out of here.
Were you surprised to see him on the pitch today, given all the given all the rumors?
No, because I think given the injuries and given that Mkhitaryan and Zielinski are older and Barella was playing poorly, what else are you gonna do? Like, Diouf was already on there, so you couldn't like shift Diouf to the midfield. That probably would have been a mess there, and you had limited options. Like, who else was left on the bench, really? Like, You're not going to bring on any of the young kids. It's all defenders in Devray, Bisek, and Di Marco. Like what? Maybe Berenbrook, but he's not going to play Berenbrook in this situation. Like that was the only other real midfielder that we had. So, yeah.
Yep. And then you have Lautaro for Mickey in the 71st minute. So you got about like 20, 25 minutes with extra time left in the game. You go to the three forwards, Thuram and Lautaro behind Pio. I thought it actually worked well, although Lautaro came on and then immediately gave the ball away. But the rest of it was decent to good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there's really much more to say about it, because it's not like we were creating these beautiful clear-cut chances. It just wasn't just wasn't great. Then Sucic for Thuram in the 87th minute. Sucic continues to get these like little minutes at the end of the game when you think he's going to get more. After that second half against Parma, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it.
I mean, he only had 3 touches, so I can't really say anything about it.
Yeah.
So no impact, no nothing to really talk about.
Yeah, it worked out. We won the game. I think the only other thing that he really could have done was Di Marco. But we had the goal in hand at that point. So, then you would want to get, a little bit more sturdy in the midfield, which is what he did by bringing on Sucic for Thuram.
Exactly.
All right. I don't think we have much more to say about this game. You want to get into listener questions?
Yeah, let's go with the questions. Or do you want to go with the speak pipes? I know we got 2.
We got 2.
You want me to do the speak pipes?
I got them. We got Nick Costa. Oh. Let's hear it.
Fellas, that was an ugly one, but we grinded it out. Mkhitaryan is the worst thing to happen to football since the 2002 World Cup. But we move. Forza Como tomorrow. And Love Esposito. Burying that. Curls for the girls. Big biceps, P.O. We move. Enjoy your Wednesdays.
Nick Costa, good friend of the pod, with some wise words on multiple fronts there, to be honest. Intertwined.
Hey guys, intertwined here. Absolutely massive 3 points. I am absolutely over the moon with this win. We needed it. We knew it wasn't going to be pretty. Third game in 7 days, and second game in 3 days after that. Mentally and emotionally exhausting game against Napoli. Mentally and physically exhausting game, I should say. But everyone counts, and I agree with the comment that you guys made about we need guys with who have the dog in them, and I think if we can make a few key acquisitions this window, somebody like Perisic or maybe a midfielder who can lay it all on the line. I think that's what we need. Either way, this is going to be a grind. I looked up our schedule, and we're playing every 3 to 4 days up till February 8th. So this brutal run is going to either make us or break us. Forza Inter.
It's a brutal run. Let's actually walk through it, so we can let everyone know what we're heading into. No, Inter fixtures. Okay. Udinese Saturday, Tuesday Arsenal, Friday Pisa, Wednesday Dortmund, Sunday Cremonese, Torino on Wednesday, Sunday Sassuolo. I mean, we have some stuff in the league that should work out for us, but they're just happening right on top of one another, which is the hard part. You have Twitter.
You worried about that? You worried about that Arsenal game?
Not until Hakan went down. Now I'm a little concerned. But I don't know. You have Twitter up right now?
Yeah.
Could you go through the listener questions? I got to go check on my dog. He's crying for me.
Okay. Let's go. Let's see here. All right. Starting from. All right. So from Avid Inter fan, regardless of what happens this season, I believe this midfield needs a massive upgrade. Do you think the management will address this issue in the summer? And who do you think would improve us in the middle? I think the management, unfortunately, is going to focus on goaltending and goalkeeping. I don't know why I said hockey on the brain. Goalkeeping and center back primarily. And then I think we'll probably, if there is an opportunity somewhere in the midfield, they might go for that. I would like a little bit more steel in the midfield. Not so much. I don't really need you to be great on the ball. I need you to be able to be, just strong in there. And who do I think would help us improve? The thing is, like, that's that him for sure. Which I think that it will. All right, I guess we are going to make a move in the midfield because we have the buyback option. We don't want to give another team the opportunity to make the move there, and I think that's one that you can't give up. So yeah, I guess Stankovic. As much as I like Hjulmand, I don't think that's realistic. I don't think Angelo Stiller is realistic for us. I don't think a lot of players that would probably be good in that regista role are truly realistic. But I think we need to potentially look at something besides Stankovic because if you could rotate, unless you're going to keep Hakan and just rotate Hakan and Stankovic, that maybe that's the way they go about it. But yeah.
Also, it would be nice to get a player who is like entering his prime instead of 2 to 3 years away from his prime, such as like a Manu Kone or an Angelo Stiller, as opposed to like, there's this kid in Denmark that I really like, Caleb Joenke, but he's 19. So it's like, I don't know. I don't.
Bring the kids, man. Trick a lot of kids.
I want to fight for stuff.
Lee Theobald, get in there. 3 big points. Mkhitaryan all-around game was poor as usual. Don't ever think I've seen a good shot off him, and mostly they never hit the target. He is so bad. No further comment. I'm not going to say anything. I don't think people need me to rip into him more, but Lee, 100% agree with you. M6 Zeki, are set piece takers picked by the coach, or does whoever feel like it take them? Barella takes 3 corners, doesn't beat the first man once, and still takes the next 2. Why is he allowed to take the next 2? And how is Mickey on free kicks when Zielinski is right there? So if you think about it, normally it'd be Hakan and Di Marco. Neither of them were on the pitch. I'm not sure if these guys really did practice the free kicks. Normally when you have the set piece training, you always have a session in your training leading up to the match. I'm assuming it was Barella and Mickey who were the ones taking it. Why? I don't know, because you have Zielinski there, who I think would have been better from either corner. And yes, on the free kick, I said if Mkhitaryan takes a shot, I might crash out. And I did lose my mind when he took that shot and hit the wall and then absolutely scuffed the next attempt. It was embarrassing. Like, even if Zielinski goes over the crossbar, I would have felt better about that, than anything that Mkhitaryan did. So
I would have rather seen Gary Medel take that free kick than Mkhitaryan in that moment.
I would actually have to agree with you, and I wasn't the biggest Gary Medel fan.
Yes.
Scatterbrains says, I'd rather play dog shit and win the game than dominate and lose as we have done before. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone would agree with you there. I don't think no one's going to be upset with a win no matter how it comes. Zeki, you're not nitpicking. He came with another message like, sorry if that's nitpicking, but it really not nitpicking at all. I agree with you 100%, and I'm sure Alessandro does as well. Ulrich, let's go PO. But yes, this was a very difficult game to watch. Way too many crosses, barely any shots on net. Barella was bad, but you can't take that off. You can't take him off and let Mickey take corners and cross and shoot balls like that. Do you guys think Bonnie should have stayed longer and PO started? Ooh, I do think Boney had more impact on the game than Thuram, so I may say, like, yeah, he should have stayed longer. And I don't know if Pio should have started. I think, would he have had the same impact if he started? I don't know. But he came on the right time and was massive for us. What do you think?
The early lineups which I know are complete and total bullshit, but the early lineups had Pio and Bonni starting together that had Juve in there. Like, I was, kind of ready to see the kids on the pitch trying to win a game against a Lecce. I get the concept of Lecce is a team of grown men who are gonna try to bite your kneecaps off, Dan Campbell style. But I don't think what we saw today, that Bonni and Pio would have been.
I'd feel confident saying that 85% of our listeners have no idea who Dan Campbell is.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Look it up. Something for you to look up. All right, and then the other thing that I wanted to say was, what if the thinking was, I want to have one of Bonni or Pio to insert into the game. I think they're better off the bench options, and that's why it ended up being one of the veterans plus a kid.
Yeah, don't disagree with that there. Hamad Al-Hebi, or I hope I said that correctly. Forgive me if I didn't. We need a new goalie. This summer stuff needs to stop ASAP. Agreed. I mean, we have one. He's on the bench. He's waiting, or he wasn't on the bench today. He's injured. But when he is ready, I hope that we do make the move. And the last one here from SC Chad. Honestly, the key right now is to continue winning these small matches. Great that we have the strikers like Pio to rely on. We need a big confidence boost against Udinese before Arsenal. Forza. If Fratesi leaves, would you put Diouf at midfield and get a right wing back, or would you search for a midfield replacement? Alessandro, what would you do?
If Fratesi leaves, well, okay. Pre-partita, Marotta said that Dumfries is due back earlier than expected. That earlier than expected is still 10 games away. So I don't think you can roll without doing, something. Fratesi leaves, I kick Juve inside, and I'm sorry for anyone out there that thinks there should be a different strategy here, but I'd rather wait to the summer to make a real investment. There aren't market opportunities right now, like a Palestra or anything. I would bring him back. I would bring him back. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Our 37-year-old, two-footed Croatian monster.
PSV already said they won't let him go, unfortunately.
He said Fabrizio said there that he's interested.
When?
Don't worry about what PSV said. We'll figure something out.
Bro, Fabrizio Romano's no.
Don't worry about that.
I think I would rather do as much as I love Perisic, and I would love to see him back.
The mentality.
But if the opportunity is there for a Fratesi for Den and Doy swap with Nottingham Forest,
but that's not there either.
If the opportunity is there, I said if.
Okay. Yeah,
if it's holding a lot of weight right there.
Yep.
I would rather do that personally.
That Cheeto holding the door back kind of that that's what
okay,
is.
fair.
And then and Doy ends up also as your joker. Could be the right wing back. Dumfries comes back, and then now he's your guy between the lines.
Bro. Dan and Doy. I wanted him when he was at Bologna, so my gosh, if we can get him back.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
He was a part of Johnny FC before that other person who says she has an FC team.
I was gonna say, who do you think wins, Johnny FC or Lecce?
Bro, Johnny FC smokes Lecce FC. She's just relying on Kenan Yildiz to do everything for her.
And Dybala, she's relying a lot.
And Dybala, bro, pretending she knew who Nico Paz was. Come on, bro, you had no idea who he was. Stop.
Just kidding.
By the way, I sold his rookie cards that I bought way in advance.
Paulo?
Before he, huh?
Paulo?
No. Nico Paz. Bro, I sold one of his rookie cards.
Should have waited.
You should have waited for the Madrid 500,
move.
Bro.
Damn.
500. I couldn't turn it down.
Damn.
But anyway.
Do you have any others?
Nah, I sold all my Nico Paz. I made it was when I was moving back cross country, so I needed some extra scarol for getting back over here.
Oh man! All right, Inter gets 3 points, top of Serie A by 6. I'm very happy. We had to talk about what happened in the game, which wasn't all great. But Johnny, I think you're happy. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
Over the moon. Let's build a lead. That's what matters.
Let's keep stat padding against these little teams. I mean, Udinese just got smoked by Fiorentina, so let's do the same thing. Let's pile on the pain and keep increasing the gap there. I think I don't know who the rest. Let's see.
They should not. I just want to make this very clear for a player that I really like. Udinese is asking 40 million for Arthur Atta. 40 million. Stop
bonkers.
it. Stop it. I would take him in a heartbeat, but 40 million. Stop it. Ridiculous.
All right, so Milan Lecce. Maybe Lecce can put up the same type of fight that they did against us this weekend against Milan. Napoli Sassuolo. Okay, no. And then Juve Cagliari. Okay. All right, let's just win. Who cares? Let's just keep winning.
In the words of the great Roberto Scarpini, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi.